Please lie on your back. And start to scan. Begin with your heels. Where on your heels are you touching the floor? And then find the space above your heel. Or maybe there isn't one. The arrangement of your calf, its contact on the floor or not, the space. So sense the spaces below your knee and above your heel. The space behind your knee. And as you continue through your legs, does your thigh touch the floor? Sense the space between your legs, the shape of the space between your legs. The space behind your lower back, your lumbar spine, the curve of your lumbar spine. How far is it from the floor? How tall is it? How much of your pelvis, the back of your pelvis, touches the floor? The shape that it makes on the floor? Sense your thoracic spine. The space between your thoracic spine and the floor. Your cervical spine, your neck. The space between the back of your neck and the floor. How deep is that space? How long is that space? Find the volume of the shape of the space between your neck and the floor. How wide are your shoulders? At the front and at the back. Are those two lines similar or different? What about the width between your armpits? And the shape of your right armpit? And your left armpit? Sense the shape of your right arm. The shape of your torso. And the shape of your left arm. What do you sense when you're finding these shapes? Is it an outline on the floor? Is it a sense of the volume of your right arm, the volume of your torso, and the volume of your left arm? Find the height of yourself. And the width of yourself. If the ceiling were to come down towards your front, where would it touch you first? Would it be your nose? Would it be your breasts? Would it be your toes? The front of your pelvis? Your abdomen? Where would the ceiling touch the front of you if it came down and lightly touched you? Please put your right arm to the side. Many of you have got it to the side. And bend your, oh, not right out, sorry, at about 45 degrees. 45 degrees from your side, sorry. And bend your right elbow so that your hand is towards the ceiling. And let your wrist drop. Drop your wrist so that your palm is more or less towards the floor. Now, with your sensing, find the distance between the crease of the front of your wrist and the crease of your elbow. And then find another part of you that is that length. The length between the crease of the front of your wrist and the crease of your elbow. which part of you is that length? And of course, as you're scanning around, this is what you're doing. You're searching for a part that is this length, and you're scanning yourself to find it. And let your arm go down. Which is the longest bone in your body? And sit for a moment, please. And try putting the sole of your foot in that place between your elbow and your wrist. And there it is, a foot. And the measurement of the foot really comes from that. But of course, people's feet are different lengths, as are their forearms, but that is more or less where it came from. It's great, isn't it? Eh? Try the opposite arm with the opposite foot, and you're much closer. And then there's another measurement which is also similar, which is the span between your thumb and your fifth finger. Mine used to be 9 inches, but I think no longer. And so, but it's interesting because that's not really a foot. So 9 inches is not a foot, but maybe yours, you know, some of you might have more. But anyway, it's just that those three measurements, and apparently, I'm afraid I can't vouch for this because I don't speak Hebrew, but apparently in Hebrew, is that right, Alan? That measurement is a sort of basic measurement. Yeah, yeah. But also this span, apparently the name for this span, that's, anyway, I don't know. Yeah. Oh, same distance as the nipples. We're right on it now. How fabulous. There, it is. Great, great. It's extraordinary that Moshe didn't mention that in there. So now, sensing the thickness of your neck. Which part of your body is the same circumference or thickness as your neck? Just try to do it through sensation rather than measuring with your fingers for the moment. Just feel, can you sense that? That circumference, that thickness of your neck? And where do you think it matches in yourself? And then try. Now so you've made a decision, put your fingers around your neck in a quite loving sort of way. And then try the part of your body that you decided was similar. And lie on your back and have a rest. So the answer given for the neck, for your neck, is in fact mid-calf. And I find that quite interesting because I think people's calves can develop in different ways. But anyway, somewhere along there. Yeah, mid-calf. But, you know, I think it varies a bit, I think, obviously. Then Feldenkrais talked a lot about a man called Dreyfus, who was an American, or from the US, who actually invented many, many things and wrote a book about body measurements. But he invented the telephone, he invented the sort of dimensions of car seats, pointing out that in different countries or in different body types, you needed to design the car seats in a different way. And the designers, there are at least 2 designers, I think, in here, and they would understand this, that if you're making things for people to fit, then you need to find the average of the population that you're trying to serve. This Dreyfus was apparently pretty incredible. He sort of did dimensions for the Polaroid camera, for street signs, for agricultural machines. He felt they should be painted yellow. And then Feldenkrais talked a lot about sitting in a car with the seat belt, and if you don't know how to undo the seat belt in an emergency, you can be trapped there. So really, it's about being in the world and understanding how things work around you. Now sense the distance, the height of your forehead to between your eyes, of course. That's the boundary from your hairline to between your eyes. And then from between your eyes to the tip of your nose. And the tip of your nose to your chin. And from inside, sense those distances, those 3 distances of your face. And of course, the artists among you have thought of these things before. Just for yourself, work out which distance is longer. And then spread your arms to the side, level with your shoulders, so more or less at 90 degrees. And just sense the span from fingertip to fingertip. And how does that compare with your height from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? And if you can think of that picture by Leonardo with the circle around, does that give you a clue? Is your span and your height equal? Are they equal? And leave that for a moment, and coming back to the longest bone in your body. It is the femur, your thigh bone. And let your arms rest. They don't need to be to the side anymore, just where they're comfortable. And draw parallel lines from each corner of your mouth, and take those parallel lines upwards. And where do they cross towards your hairline? What do they intersect towards your hairline? And as you continue them downwards, the parallel lines from the corner of your mouth, sense where they go through your jaw. To your collarbones. So you're sensing the width of your mouth and its relationship upwards and downwards to your chest. What is longer, your upper arm or your lower arm, your forearm? Is your nose longer from between your eyes to the tip of your nose? Is that longer than your forehead? And then find the line from your navel to the top of your head, and your navel to the soles of your feet. How are those two lines? And then draw two parallel lines from the outside of your feet upwards, Are those two lines wider than your body or narrower than your body? Do they intersect your arms? Are they near the outside of your pelvis? Just where do those two parallel lines go from the outside of your feet? Now please draw two parallel lines from your tibia, from the lower point of your tibia inside your ankle, and take those two lines upwards. Your tibia, as you know, is your shin bone. The very lower edge of it is just near the inside of your ankle. Just draw two lines, parallel lines, going through you, reaching to the level of the top of your head. Where do those lines intersect? Are they close to your spine? Are they far away from your spine? When you're drawing these parallel lines, are you going inside yourself, or are you skimming over the surface of yourself, either the front or the back? Try to find the inside of yourself. Coming back to the ceiling that lightly touches you. Where does it first touch you? Where does it touch you second? Which is the second point of you that touches? Please now, with your left hand this time, touch your left shoulder. And sense now which arm's longer, which bone is longer, the bone in your upper arm, your humerus, or your radius and ulnar in your lower arm. And you can sense now that your humerus is longer because you need your fingers there to touch your shoulder. So just find those relationships. So now, just open your eyes and look at the beams on the ceiling above you. And in your row, the ones that are orientated to the length of your body, just count them. And as you count them, what happens inside you? What happens with your eyes? What do you sense inside you as you count those beams? And this is something that is going on in you. So that our external world is really wired to inside us. You move your eyes to count, but then often we use our sensation to sense the world. In that, what I mean is our primary sensation, so that we touch, as you know, with your FI work. You're really finding that other person as well through your touch, through your auditory sense, you're listening, through your observation, you're looking. And through this scan, you're developing your kinesthetic sense, you're sensing yourself from inside you. So our internal life is rich and varied. And that we can, and just to remember that we can be misled by words. It's very hard often to find the words that match what we sense, what we feel inside us. And that our thinking, speaking, reading, writing has for many of us developed beyond our kinesthetic sense. Our internal life. And that it's well known in advertising that you can have a subliminal, a subconscious, below our consciousness message that can persuade us to buy something, to do something, that we don't even realize where that suggestion came from. So what other questions are there of dimensions? Your toes, your big toe and your second toe, are they similar in length? Is one longer than the other? And it seems that the ancient Greeks had their big toe longer, and the ancient Romans had their second toe longer. So just sense for you which one's longer. Which is the widest part of yourself, or the wider part? Your pelvis or your shoulders? How many times can you fit the width of you into your height? So if you take your widest part and imagine stacking it up or stacking it down, how many times does this widest part go into your height? Which is the widest part of your face? Is it across your cheeks, across your forehead, or your jaw? How many of these widths can fit into the height of your face? Sensing again the width of your face. How many faces, or how many of the width of your face can you fit on your right shoulder and on your left shoulder? Sense all of you. Your height, which is we often refer to as your length. Your width. And your depth. The relationship of the distance between the front of you and the floor, your depth. And slowly roll to your side and sit and stand. Take your time. And just feel in standing what that's done for you. and go for a walk. So we'll just have a short break, just to acclimatise.